Bro, what's the biggest surprise? Luis Rojas is the manager of the Mets or Larry Walker's in the Hall of Fame? Which one shocked you more?
Neither. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think so. Look, we said yesterday about Walker, it felt as if there was a lot of sympathy vote going on.
Yeah, sympathy vote.
And Larry Walker had a very good career.
Right.
I don't think of him as a Hall of Famer. You don't think of him as a Hall of Famer. But here's the funniest part. 2 years ago, even 1 year ago, a lot of the writers didn't think of him as a Hall of Famer. But it's amazing how things can change when you're in the final year of eligibility. As far as Luis Rojas is concerned, let's hit the positives, all right? Positive number one, this is for you, Joe. You said yesterday, let's just get it over with.
Yep.
Pick a manager,
and they did.
Let's go. And they did. They did this very efficiently. They moved, they named their guy, and it's done. The manager is Luis Rojas, right? So you've got to be happy about that. We're not sitting here for 3 more weeks going into spring training not knowing who the manager is.
Correct.
It's positive number one. Positive number two. I'm going to give you another positive, all right?
Please do.
Look, I can't sit here and tell you Luis Rojas is a bad manager. I can't do it. We've never seen him manage. He does come to this job with more experience than Carlos Beltran, and he comes to this job with more experience than Aaron Boone. Now, I think both of us would say Aaron Boone has turned out to be a pretty good manager. He's got a lot of talent, but he's a pretty good manager.
He's good.
But one of the things that I think was appealing about Boone is his father and his grandfather, right? He could have learned from 2 guys that did it pretty well in Bob and Ray Boone. Well, Luis Rojas learned from his pops. I would hope at least, because his father was a very good manager for the Montreal Expos and Philippe Alou. And so the bloodlines are good.
Too.
Pretty good player, too, absolutely. And his brother was a pretty good player, too, Moises Alou. Moises, you could wake up on Christmas morning, he'd go 3 for 4. He was a hell of a hitter.
Really? Yep.
So the bloodlines are good. He's got experience managing at the minor league level. Again, something Carlos Beltran didn't have. The reason why most Met fans liked Carlos Beltran is because he played for the team. I loved him as a player. We had no idea what kind of manager he was going to be. So the guy comes with experience. Let's go. Now it's about the players performing. Now, by the time we get to May, is it possible you and I are crushing this guy as manager? Maybe. Are we saying Luis Rojas can't handle a bullpen? Maybe. But as of right now, maybe it's because I'm just tired of being negative between the football and the basketball and even the baseball team. I'm not going to sit here crying about Luis Rojas. He's the manager. Let's see what he can do as manager. He deserves a fair shot. And as a fan, I'm going to give that to him.
Yeah. I mean, what else? Look, I'm neither here nor there. I'm with Luis Rojas. Does he move the needle for me? No. But I'm glad they got it done quickly. And you're right. We don't know what he is. He could be a great manager. We have no clue. We hope that he's going to be that. And I'm just glad that they've moved on from this disaster with Beltran. And let's go. Let's get ready to play baseball.
And you know what else?
That's it.
When any of our teams, any team in this town hires a coach or a manager, your dream is that that guy is going to have the job for 25 years. That's the dream, right? That this is going to be the guy. He's going to manage your team or coach your team, whatever the sport, for the next 25 years. I think that is a fair fantasy to have. I've had that with every freaking coach any of the teams I root for has gone through, or manager. Luis Rojas is a young guy. He's still in his 30s. He's very highly regarded throughout baseball. Maybe he's the guy who manages the New York Mets for the next 20 years. Is that going to happen?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Has anybody managed the Mets for 20 years?
No.
The answer would be no.
But there's always time for a first.
Yeah, well.
That's the thing.
No, I understand.
I am sick and tired as a fan of going through managers and coaches like water every day.
No, that's true.
I'm sick of it. The Mets had a decent run with Terry Collins. And then Mickey Callaway walks through that door, and you knew rather quickly he was not capable of being a major league manager. And they got rid of him after 2 years, and now the hope is, and they had Beltran for a few months. We never got to see him manage. I don't even know if we count him as a Met manager.
You can't count him.
So the hope is this is going to be the guy that manages the team for the next 25 years. That's the hope. But he comes in here. He may not be sexy. He may not move the needle. But you know what? A manager doesn't have to move the needle. The manager doesn't have to do that. It's a freaking manager. Like what, Buck Showalter? Yes, he moves the needle. We know who he is. He's got great experience. But when it comes down to a baseball game in the middle of May, I just want someone capable of doing the job. Mickey Callaway was not capable of doing the job. And so, much like you said about Todd Bowles and the jury is still out on if Adam Gase is better or worse than Todd Bowles.
Yes.
My hope is that, he can't be any worse than Mickey Callaway because Mickey Callaway was very, very bad for 2 years.
Yeah, no, look, I didn't love Mickey Callaway either. We'll see what he is. I mean, I don't know. It's at the end of the day with this, bro, it's going to come down to the players. You know that. It comes down to the players. How do they perform is going to make or break Luis Rojas. I mean, there's nothing else. And we'll see. But I'm just glad it's over. I'm happy. I didn't think they'd wait too long for this. I figured they had to get this done soon.
Yeah,
because they got to get the whole thing, the whole nonsense with Beltran. Just get it behind you, and let's get ready to play baseball now. I mean, really, that's where it's at.
Yeah, and I when I was saying Hensley Mullins would be the guy I would pick, it was for similar reasons to why they picked Luis Rojas. I thought that there was a value in a guy being around, a guy who's been with this organization, a guy who knows the players. I mean. Not that you want to make every move to make players happy, but Marcus Stroman has already tweeted, Luis Rojas, love it, being around him on the bench last year.
Right. Everybody loves him.
Everybody loves him. Robbie Cano loves him, and that's not the end-all, be-all to being a manager.
Well, I mean, look, a lot of times it's bad if they like you too much.
Could be bad. Could be bad. But I like the idea that they did bring somebody in who's been a part of the organization, which he has. So you're not just helicoptering someone in. I mean, Buck Showalter's not paying attention to the New York Mets during this offseason. He doesn't know the ins and outs of the organization. So I think there's a benefit to that. Mm-hmm. And again, even though the name may not be familiar to a lot of us, the guy's managed in the minor leagues. Aaron Boone never managed anything before he got the Yankee job. We had no idea what he was going to be as a manager. He was a broadcaster. Aaron Boone's qualifications. And I say this as a compliment because I think Aaron Boone's been a good manager. I really do. I think he's been good over the last 2 years. His qualifications were he had a big home run in the postseason. He was a former player, a broadcaster, and he had great bloodlines when it came to managing. Well, really, what was his other qualifications?
Yeah, I did play. I mean,
I just said that he was a player.
Yeah, where Rojas is not a player.
Well, he was a player. He was a minor league player.
Okay, but not in the majors.
Well, does that matter? Look at all the managers who are not major league players.
No. It doesn't matter. That doesn't mean he's not. He's going to be a good manager or he's going to be a bad manager. I mean, that doesn't mean anything at all. But at least the guy played. The guy was in Major League Baseball. I will say that. I mean, for what that's worth.
It's not worth much.
No. Well, I mean, none of it's worth anything until these guys get there and start doing it. Look, we know that.
We don't know what guys are going to be as a manager when they've never been a major league manager.
Right.
But he is qualified for the job in terms of the guy worked in the minor leagues as a manager. Now, the quality control job has been mysterious.
Yeah, what exactly does that mean?
He gives a lot of the analytics to the players from the front office.
Oh, that's what he does?
So it's essentially what he's going to have to do as manager.
Okay. Yeah, that's not much different, really.
It's not that much different.
Brody will call down, here's the lineup, and you just hand out the analytics.
Right.
And you're good to go.
I mean, that's a big part of the job.
Yeah, of course.
Having communication with the players the right way.
Right.
And also, this may not be the best example, so you can say, Evan, it's a different sport. So last night, the Islanders beat the Rangers.
Yes.
Hear me out on this.
Yes, I noticed.
I wasn't doing that.
I never felt good about it. I knew they'd lose this game last night, by the way, even without Panarin.
No, I get that.
Even if Panarin played.
Being without your best player certainly doesn't help.
But even if he was playing, I didn't feel good about it.
So Matthew Barzal was benched in the third period.
Yeah, I did see that.
And when Barry Trotz...
For too much individuality is what I heard.
Well, Trotz said when asked... That's between me and the player. He knows why. Now, first of all, that answer just got me all excited. I love this guy. Right. This guy says, I don't give that. I don't care who you are. Your ass is benched.
Right.
And yes, the Athletic reported it was about playing for himself and individuality.
Right.
There are times where you'd like to see a manager do that. Mm-hmm. Now, does that happen a lot in baseball? Occasionally, but not that often. Not that often do you see a manager, especially with a young star player who Matthew Barzal is,
right.
where you see that. But you do want to see that. So Robbie Cano loves Luis Rojas, loves him, right? And apparently Cano was telling Brody, yeah, Rojas is great. If Robbie Cano does something, I can't imagine what he would do. I don't know, not hustle to first base.
No, come on, he wouldn't do that.
You would want. What a crazy idea.
That is a crazy idea.
The one I think of, I don't know if you remember this game, 2000, before the Mets got rid of Ricky Henderson. He had a ball off the fence in left field.
This.
Okay. And he ended up at first base. Never got the second.
Yes, which Ricky did many times in his career, man.
He did, and he's a Hall of Famer.
Right.
If that happens, you want to see a manager every once in a while do something about it.
Yes.
I get hockey is different. I do. Barry Trotz did something about it last night. You don't see it in the NBA. You think Kenny Atkinson's going to sit Kyrie Irving down?
Well,
I don't think so.
Kyrie sits himself down. Kenny doesn't. It's not part of the job description for Kenny.
I set that up for you.
No, and you did brilliantly, man.
So that was the only
Beautifully.
thing. Yes, that's the thing that occasionally, I'm not even saying that often, you'd want to see a manager feel comfortable doing. But outside of that, if you're a manager, just don't screw things up.
Just going to say, just don't screw it up. That's it.
Mickey did at times.
Yeah.
Mickey did.
Yeah.
So I am hopeful about this hire. They have made the hire. We can all move on from the Beltran debacle. And hopefully when we're doing this show, me and you, 15 years from now, you'll be 82 at the time, whatever you are. You will say, hey, bro, this is Luis Rojas. Love the guy.
You going to get vibes through the tombstone? Is that what?
I hope.
Is that what you're going to? They're going to be a wire. They're going to borrow the wire. They're going to borrow the wire from the Astros. Exactly. It'll do like a bio waves or something.
Right. But that's my hope. That is the hope. That 20 years from now, there's a Dunkin' Donuts commercial featuring Luis Rojas and Aaron Boone talking about the Subway
How many
Series.
years? 15 years?
Yeah.
Oh, Boone might be in it.
Isn't that what you want?
Boone might be in it.
Boone's off to a great start. And look, when the Yankees moved on from Joe Girardi, both you and I said, come on, this guy knows how to manage. Why would you get rid of Joe Girardi? And I will sit here 2 years later with no regrets about what I think about Joe Girardi as a manager, but I think Aaron Boone has been the right guy in the right moment for the New York Yankees. And at that time when they hired him, Aaron Boone was just a former player who was an analyst on Sunday Night Baseball, whose father and grandfather happened to manage. That's what he was. And I could sit here 2 years later and say, guy's a hell of a manager. So we'll see with Luis Rojas. I always thought Felipe Alou was a good manager. I'm sure he's learned from his father. I'm sure he's learned from his brother, Moises, who was a hell of a player. Had a tough time staying healthy in his brief tenure with the Mets, but he was a hell of a hitter.
Did have a 30-game hitting streak, which is still the record for the Mets.
Amazing, right?
I think it was 30. Wasn't he at 30 in a row?
I think he got there, yeah.
Yeah, I think he did.
So we'll see what Luis Rojas is as manager, but he is now the manager of the New York Mets. We'll get into Jeter not getting 100% of the vote, Larry Walker being elected, and how we are going to go a very long time now. Forget about guys running close to 100%. We're not going to get a lot of first ballot Hall of Famers for a while. So we'll get to all that coming up. Michael Irvin will join us at 5, but Ingo and Roberts till 6.